A groundbreaking new study into cats on keyboards is hot off the press that's revealed just how intelligent cats are, and it's definitely going to surprise you. Their mind games are, well, mind-blowing. From sitting on our keyboards to knocking items off tables, it turns out there are hidden messages from our cats in everything they do. And the interesting part is, their messages reveal a lot about what cats think about us. But the psychological games that cats play actually have a pretty logical origin. It turns out cats are far closer to their wild ancestors than dogs. While dogs have been bred to the point that they're almost unrecognizable from wolves, cats still have a little tiger in them. You see, when dogs were domesticated, they were bred to work alongside humans to hunt for prey and guard the campout. Dogs became the servants, and we humans were the masters. But cats had a different purpose. They were domesticated to be predators of rodents, and they lived near humans only out of a calculated mutual benefit. As a result, they were never bred to be subservient in the same way that dogs were. Today, we still see this in the power play games that cats play when we're at our keyboard. So, this study into cats on keyboards blew my mind, and now I'll look at my cat differently every time he sits on my keyboard when I'm trying to work. My little cutie is, well, still capable of pulling the antics of his ferocious ancestors. But before we get to the truth about how cats really behave around our keyboards, we need to get rid of a major misperception. Many people assume the keyboard's warmth is the irresistible draw. After all, cats are notorious for seeking cozy spots. Sunny windowsills and warm laps come to mind. But while warmth might be appealing, it's not the primary reason for their obsession with keyboards. Think about it. If heat were the main factor, why wouldn't they curl up next to a radiator or on a heated blanket instead? Keyboards don't retain heat for long, and they're not exactly the most comfortable spot for lounging. The real motivation goes beyond physical comfort. Cats are more strategic than we give them credit for, and their fixation on your keyboard has a deeper, more deliberate purpose. Another common false belief is that cats sit on keyboards because they're intrigued by the movements of your fingers and the satisfying clack of the keys. It's true that cats love to play with things that move, dangling strings, laser pointers, even the shadows on a wall, so it's easy to see how typing might catch their attention. But here's the catch. Cats may find the typing noises and movements interesting initially, but this behavior often persists even when you're not actively using the keyboard. They're not just there to bat at your fingers or enjoy the sensory experience of typing, they're making a statement. So playfulness doesn't fully explain their fixation either. Now, there's another common reason given for why cats sit on keyboards that isn't a misconception per se, but it's also not the core reason cats sit on keyboards according to this study. This one's just a nicer explanation for cats sitting on our keyboards, which may be correct occasionally. Ever notice how your cat's purring sometimes has a high-pitched cry woven into it? If they're doing that on your keyboard, that's no coincidence. Known as solicitation purring, this sound is eerily similar to the frequency of a human baby's cry. Cats use it strategically to exploit your nurturing instincts, prompting you to feed them, give them attention, or simply do their bidding. Studies have shown that humans are highly attuned to these sounds, making them almost impossible to ignore. So, if your cat suddenly becomes unusually affectionate at the keyboard, purring loudly, or even giving you those big, pleading eyes, it's not just love. This could well be a psychological move to try to get you to feed them. They might be training you to respond to their charm by filling their bowl. The next time your cat turns up the volume on this purr-cry combo when sitting at your keyboard, remember that it's not just affection, it's calculated manipulation. But, as our study shows, unless your little furball is hungry, that's probably not the reason either. You see, all their behaviors are extremely calculated, especially when it comes to where they sit. This applies to on your keyboard or any other location around the house. For example, have you ever noticed how your cat loves to perch on the back of your couch, the highest shelf, or even the top of your fridge? This isn't just a matter of finding a good vantage point. Cats instinctively seek strategic places to assert dominance over their environment, and by extension, over you. Often this involves being above everything else, which allows them to survey their kingdom and signals their superiority. But then again, the keyboard isn't a particularly high spot, is it? That's because cats don't only like to sit up high. Sometimes other motives dictate where they sit. Their desire to assert power might also compel them to sit right in front of us, especially when we're at our computers. When your cat plops themselves in our way, whether it's on the stairs, in a doorway, on your keyboard, or right in front of your favorite chair, it's not just a coincidence. This behavior is a calculated move to assert their authority and remind you that they control the flow of the household. Blocking your path forces you to interact with them on their terms, whether you're stepping around them or stopping to give them attention. But from here, the plot thickens. You see, when your cat's sitting on your keyboard, you might have noticed them staring intently at you. They're not just staring at you out of love and affection, there's something more subversive at play here too. Cats may not need words to make their point because their intense, unblinking stare says it all. When a cat locks eyes with you or another cat, it's often a test of dominance. The first to look away is considered the submissive one in the interaction. While it might feel playful or endearing, it's actually a subtle power play in the feline world. If your cat frequently engages in these staring contests at your keyboard, try blinking and slowly looking past them at your computer screen, as if you're unfazed by their antics. This signals to your cat that you're not a threat, and it can even help build trust between you. But let's get to the crux of it all. Here's what the science says about why cats sit at your keyboard all the time. When your cat deliberately plops down on your keyboard, it's not just a bid for attention, it's a power move that goes back to their territorial ancestral roots. Here's the real reason. Cats can smell your scent all over these objects and instinctively want to replace it with their own. By doing this, they're essentially marking their territory and asserting their ownership over you and anything you deem important. Cats care a lot about scent. This is partly because their eyesight is developed for hunting at dawn and dusk, meaning their sense of smell is really important during the day when their eyes aren't 100% in their element. So, rubbing themselves all over your legs and, of course, your keyboard is a power play. Dr. David Sands, a renowned animal behaviorist, notes that this behavior is rooted in a cat's desire to claim dominance through scent marking. It's their way of saying, "I own you, and I own this too." You see, unlike dogs who think you're the boss of the household, cats continue to want to assert that they're king of the jungle. No matter how much we try to domesticate them, there's still that tiger within. So what should we do about it? Well, to prevent your cat from sitting on your keyboard, try providing an appealing alternative nearby, like a soft blanket, a cat bed, or even a box, since cats love cozy spaces. Keep the keyboard covered when not in use with a protective cover or a towel to make it less attractive. You can also use a deterrent like double-sided tape on the keyboard to discourage them from stepping on it. Interactive toys or a scratching post can help keep your cat entertained and away from your workspace. But at the end of the day, there's a good chance they're going to want to sit on anything that's got your scent on it and is diverting your attention away from them. But if you think the cat behaviors we've discussed here might annoy you, it might surprise you that there are a lot of your behaviors that they hate too. So, if you want your furry friend to love you the most, you need to watch this video next on common human behaviors that drive cats crazy.